YUNKJunk!
Hey everybody, welcome to Tubby Talk. We're talking about our favorite Christmas memories that are related to video games, and I think the best way to start with one of these is to go right into, do you guys remember that little boy who got a Nintendo 64?
I do remember that one, yeah. That's famous internet fodder.
Famous internet fodder. It looks like Dylan has pulled it up, and I think this is a great place to start. Look at the joy. The joy that's going on here. I'm not sure if you can hear it at home, but if you can, it's a little boy who gets a Nintendo 64 and reacts appropriately, screaming, "Nintendo 64! Oh my God!" and just staring at it like it's the most beautiful thing in the world, because it was. He's so excited to be a part of it. He effectively pushes his sister away, which is the right thing to do when you're a little boy getting a video game. And I can't identify with this more. And that's why I wanted to do with this topic today.
Yeah.
I have been that kid. I'm sure you guys have been that kid. And I'm sure you have been just as excited to receive something on Christmas Day and spend the entire morning, afternoon, and night just staring at that CCT TV and grinding away.
I mean, I've spent the whole Christmas morning staring at a box with the console in it, but it wasn't quite as... It didn't have a happy ending, though.
Go on.
Yeah, we got to hear this story. This is good.
You don't know this one. I don't think I've ever told you this one.
Oh.
So it was when we got our NES. And my brother opens the box, and I'm like, yes, we got an NES. And we're so happy. We didn't have any games, because we didn't get the one that came with Super Mario Brothers or with the pack-in.
Uh-huh.
So it was just the console.
It's like the command deck, I think.
Yeah, command deck. And we were like, cool, what about the games?
Oh my God.
Our parents were like, oh, yeah, we didn't know it didn't come with a game. So we didn't have a game until like a week later.
A week?
Yeah, so we had to stare at the Nintendo. We set it up and everything. And we're just like, oh, it turns on, and you get a black screen. You get that hum, but you don't get any video.
How did that make you feel?
I was devastated.
You've probably never been as devastated since.
I was going to say.
I mean...
How old were you?
I'm 3, 4.
Super young.
Yeah.
So you were excited about an NES then. Like, you knew what it was and you craved it.
Yeah, we had a Atari 2600, you know, that I grew my teeth on. I forget what the phrase is.
Cut your teeth.
I cut my teeth on. I grew the beard on the Atari 2600. But I wanted, I saw the commercials like everybody else.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really want that NES. My brother's like, I really want the NES. And then we got the NES. We were like, yes. And then we didn't have a game to play. He rented a game from West Coast Video, I believe, at some point.
Are you are you saying you have memories from 3 and 4 years old? This is probably like a core memory.
I'm not gonna say it doesn't everyone, but yeah.
Is this trauma?
Yes. It's the first in a long line of disappointments.
Yeah, I had kind of opposite things. So like, I remember the NES was out and everyone was talking about it. And my family did have a ColecoVision, before I was born. And so I would play on that a bunch. And I was like, oh, this is fun. This is fun. Everyone's talking about the Nintendo thing. I was kind of a proto-hipster, right? And I was like, I don't want that thing. Everyone talks about it too much. I don't need that in my life. And then one year, my parents got it. Ostensibly, I assumed for themselves. Because I wasn't asking for it or looking for it. I was probably somewhere, I might have been 5 or 6. It was a little bit later in the NES's life cycle. And we got it. And I was like, whatever. Now we're one of them, man. But then I played Super Mario Brothers.
And this was on Christmas Day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And your brain just grew new like neural pathways immediately.
My whole life changed. Yeah. From like, it really did. Like, yeah, that's probably the earliest Christmas I can remember. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's just amazing. It's funny. I can't remember getting the NES. I'm not sure if it was on Christmas. I do remember, this is weird, we had the weird NES that had a keyboard. Because I think my dad got it from someone.
The Miracle Piano System?
I am pretty sure we had it.
A musical keyboard, not an input keyboard.
No. It was definitely a regular computer keyboard.
Oh, a computer keyboard.
It was a computer keyboard that went into the NES. Dylan, see if you can Google this of like NES with computer keyboard. But I remember that's what we had. Now, it might be a false memory, but I'm almost 100% sure that it was, that right there. We had that thing that came with ours.
See, no, that's a Famicom.
8-bit
that's
is
a new
launching
thing.
PC.
Yeah, so this is a brand new product.
New. Go to the old one.
You find that? I don't know that there was one in America.
I'm almost positive. I know for a fact we had one. My
See,
God,
there's the
did we
Nintendo
have
Advanced
Famicom?
Video System. That one, that was.
Oh, maybe that was it. I don't know.
That was a prototype.
So
All I know
the
is
first image is that the Famicom keyboard.
NES Instein.
Not the first or second one on second row on the left. Is that like a Famicom only keyboard, or is that
Oh,
also
the one
mock-up?
on eBay?
Yeah.
NES Family Basic Keyboard. Oh yeah, try that eBay one. Let's take a look. Okay, so that's Famicom.
I think for whatever reason we had there was a keyboard attached to it.
That's like
Wow.
that's like a basic programming language.
Yeah.
Environment on a cartridge.
I don't remember having it for very long, but I know we had it, and you had to like type things in to get to the games. Now, knowing my parents, I'm sure they like found this thing
Yeah,
or
some
like
bootleg
somebody
Commodore
figured it out.
64.
You know what it
sounds
was?
like.
You know what it was? Is my dad worked at a department store, and it probably was something off the shelf. Not stolen or anything like that, but I'm sure it was something that just didn't sell.
They lost the SKU. They're like, we need to get rid of it. We need room.
Exactly.
They still got that? Because I'll buy it.
Yeah. I don't think they do. But yeah, and I distinctly remember it. I remember it clear as bell. But that's neither here nor there. That's just a weird aside that there was an NES keyboard that existed and we had it.
that wasn't a Christmas morning.
But for me, Super Nintendo, Super Mario World, oh my God, my brain exploded. There was nothing I had ever seen like this. There was nothing greater. I mean, we were coming... People don't really talk about it, but going from Mario 3 to Super Mario World was a giant leap because we were in worlds, you know?
But not only that, but
ever expanding world.
You got 16 million colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How could you? Oh, did SNES do 16 million?
It did 16 million. That was from palette, but you could only show 256 at a time, I think. Yeah.
Still, that's more than an NES could show.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure
right
Mario 8 has
there,
8 colors in it altogether.
Yeah.
That thing came up for the first time, and I just lost it.
I remember
and by the
staring
way,
at this.
was not when it came out. This was probably like, maybe it was, because 93 I remember was a big year. So maybe I do remember 1990 and 91, which would be my core memory of 4 years old, would be 1991 Nintendo. Holy crap, we figured it out. I do remember it, but everything changed just watching this screen over and over and over, and I couldn't stop playing it. And it was, I mean, I distinctly remember I'd have to be picked up and moved back from the TV.
Yeah,
physically.
same, yeah.
Because I was like,
It's going to destroy your eyes.
And my eyes got
fine.
better.
I had greater than 20/20 vision until I stopped sitting in front of the TV.
Yeah.
Like 5 years ago.
Correlation, causation.
Now I just have 20/20 vision. I mean,
But I remember, I guess I could say 1991 is the first time I remember being completely and totally zonked out by a Christmas present. And that, I would argue, maintained for the next 14 years.
Wow.
you mean like every Christmas getting
Every
a
Christmas, there was something
video
that
game that-
consumed my
Oh.
attention
Yes,
with
yes.
gaming. And
I thought you're saying you didn't get zonked out again until 14 years later.
no.
And I was like,
I'm
wow.
saying every year
Yeah.
after that, I distinctly remember Christmas was in the morning. I'm going to unwrap presents, and one of them's going to be a game. On I guess 3 occasions, it was a console, and that was earth-shattering and life-changing.
There's nothing bigger than a Christmas morning with a new console.
Nothing. And this was the first one for me, was a Super Nintendo. How did you guys feel when you got that Nintendo? I mean, obviously yours was
it was
harrowing, and that
and-
sucks.
until we got some games, and then I was just like, oh, I'm free to play whatever I want.
Mhm.
And it has it's not Pac-Man. I was all about it.
And-
I love Pac-Man, but
The NES I was nonplussed with until I played it, and then I was obsessed.
Mhm.
But I do have a memory about the Super Nintendo, because the Super Nintendo happened. We got it the year after we moved into a new house. So we had moved from Feltonville, from the hood, to Roxborough, and I wasn't very happy about it because it was a smaller house. And I was like, "Why would you move to a smaller house?" My parents were like, "It's a nicer neighborhood." I'm like, "Nah, it's a terrible trade. Just don't go outside. Why would you go outside?"
that's why you don't listen to 9-year-old Chris
Yes.
about where to live. Yeah.
But so it was the house needed a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it was still undergoing. My dad was DIYing a lot of it slowly. So I remember like all the floors were stripped and the walls were a mess. But we had this TV set up in the corner on the floor, ostensibly.
Yeah.
And
Was it
then
the same place the TV was?
same
later?
place, but without the furniture. And it had been months. We'd been like living like on this floor.
Yeah.
But then we got the Super Nintendo, and then I was like, now it's a home. Now it's a home. I can play Mario World. And I think that was like a year into its life, so it was like a little later. But
Yeah.
I was like, we got it. Yeah. So by that point, I was reading Nintendo Power about it. I was hyped. basically all the marketing worked exactly on me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for you, when was that special Christmas where you got a console? Did that ever happen, or were you? Because I know you got Sega at one point, right?
So yeah, my brother got a Sega Genesis from our grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
I did not get a Sega Genesis from my grandmother. At least according to my brother.
Did your brother have his own television?
No. So
everyone shares it.
So he went to visit our grandmother. I was at home. He comes home with a Sega Genesis like the day after Christmas. And he's like, "Yeah, Grandma gave me a Genesis."
Oh, for Christmas. Okay,
Yeah, for
good.
Christmas.
Yes, we tied it back to the thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. It was for Christmas, but I wasn't allowed to play it ever. So I would try to sneak it when he was gone, just like I would sneak his rap cassettes and his Marvel comics. I would try to sneak and play Sonic when he wasn't around.
That's very mean. Like, it's not like he can play it all the time. It's all on TV.
My God, these core memories. Wait, did your grandmother have beef with you?
I don't think so. Well, she probably had beef because I didn't go over her house that Christmas.
Wow.
I stayed home with my dad, and I was like, I want to play Nintendo. I don't want to go anywhere.
So wait a minute.
You don't deserve any gift.
That's probably
So you prioritized a classic generation to the point that it affected your next generation.
I didn't know somebody was going to get a Genesis.
Yeah. You're like, if I had known that was on the table.
Well, also my brother's birthday is at the beginning. My brother's birthday is at the beginning of December. So it could be maybe I remembered at the time. Maybe at the time I thought like, oh, it's a birthday present he got on Christmas, so it tracks that I can't play with it.
This is so much trauma that we're uncovering.
He's forgotten about most of it. I'll bring up the food traumas he's inflicted on me. He's like, I don't remember that happening, and I was like, yeah, it's not a core memory for you.
Yeah.
For you, it was a Tuesday.
Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
They made a whole movie about this concept, though. Did you see 8-Bit Christmas?
I chose not to watch 8-Bit Christmas, but I was aware of it.
It was fun.
It was fun. I mean, it was like an 80s style movie about really wanting a Nintendo.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It was a Christmas story if he wanted a Nintendo and not an airsoft rifle.
Okay.
With complete with narration, I believe.
I remember Neil Patrick Harris, and I was like, he's not a good enough actor to justify.
Well, he's more the narrator than anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But so my kids watch that, and my daughter weirdly got into it. Like, she wants to watch it every year now, and I'm like, none of this is your past, so why does this relate to you? Apparently, it resonates.
I mean, Dylan's pulling it up right now. There's the trailer.
What was the plot again? He wanted to get an NES, and then his parents were like, for some reason, he had a bunch of money, and he bought an NES from a department store and got hit by a car and dropped it.
No, so that's the very end.
That's at the end, yeah.
Yeah. He saves up all his money from his friends.
Oh, he was saving
and
it.
they sell 1,000 reeds. So they work and they try to earn this.
I mean, I'm watching it right now. That is exactly how it felt. Like, this is the most important thing ever. And it was. It changed all of our lives. We are all like this because of that experience where our parents decided to do this. I mean, just one hit and you're stuck for life, pretty much. I mean, it's like an addiction. But the most joyful one there is, because Christmas meant so much to me. But I won't lie, it was about the game, not the family togetherness time. Like, it's that it represented, oh my God, the next 4 months, because my birthday was the end of April, will be dedicated to whatever this game is.
Yeah. And
then I would get another game for my birthday, and that would be it for the year.
Yeah.
So it was that Christmas game you got as a kid mattered, because, I didn't have a way of making money. I wasn't one to ever ask my parents for things. I would just let them know, like, here's the game that is important to me during December and April, and that's it.
You nudge them in a direction.
Yeah. But there was never any like, oh, I need this, I need that. Because one, I didn't know, because this was Sears catalog days.
Oh, yeah.
Of like, it was what game looked cool. And a little later on, the thing that helped me read was, of course, Nintendo Power. So Nintendo Power magazine also told me what to get. And thank God it did. Because
it indoctrinated you very well.
It did. It got me Mega Man X. It got me Mega Man X2. It got me...
Other Mega Man?
Fast forwarding, it got me into Metroid Prime when that came out. It did not get me to Super Metroid. Did either of you receive Super Metroid for a holiday gift?
Never owned it, but I've rented it a bunch.
Yeah.
I did buy it a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's so good. I'm so glad I have it in hard copy, because I play
physical copy.
Physical copy. I got it. I play it downstairs on my CRT television with the lights out, and it's the scariest game I've ever played. We were talking about horror games before for Halloween. It's scarier than all of them.
Especially with save states.
Yes.
God.
the atmosphere, like there's something about that SNES sound chip and the way that they made it sing in Super Metroid.
Because it feels like the deep notes are almost like voids of sound, like they're negative sounds.
Yeah.
It just hits you like, oh, this is gonna kill me if I go in this room unprepared. Oh
So,
man.
I do remember my two probably biggest memories though are because it's 1995. I am I in 5th grade maybe?
Nirvana's on the
Something
radio.
like that. Nirvana's on the radio, but I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Put your mic in front of you. Nirvana's on the radio, but I don't understand it, and I'm not allowed to listen to that anyway. So, like, it's a moot point. It was like my mom had Disney cassettes, and that's what we heard. So that there was no language or anything like that, no talking about sex, no nothing.
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata. But in that Christmas, that might have been the most important Christmas because that was when I was the N64 kid.
No.
Receiving N64 for, not this one, don't. So receiving N64 in 1995 meant you got Super Mario 64.
Well, and they came in separate boxes.
And they came in separate boxes. And you experienced 3D for the first time. You experienced moving around properly in 64 bits for the first time. And as a child, it brought tears to my eyes the first time I played it. And that was because I couldn't blink, because I couldn't potentially take away from the experience I was having. It was otherworldly. I have been chasing that high the rest of my life. I have never felt as good as I did that Christmas morning.
So how much of the feeling do you think is related to the brand new controller with the analog stick and the C buttons that they introduced?
It's true. I mean, an analog stick changed my life.
I feel similarly. Like I've never felt that good either. Like the N64, and I wasn't even getting it. I didn't get it for a little while. I played it at Blockbuster in anticipation of Christmas. I'm like, oh, this is what I want. This is what I get. Go to Blockbuster. They had, I remember this bubble dome like system.
Yeah.
Where they had the controller and you could play it. And I would go there in the middle of the afternoon on like a weekend and stay as long as the clerks let me. So I must have been there nearly an hour, oftentimes, just like I'm playing Mario 64. It's so good. It's so good. I'm in this other world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it save it all? Did you have to start from like the beginning?
It had
every
an
time?
automatic reset, I think, in those.
Oh, okay.
Like it would just say thank you. It would say thanks for playing, and then it would circle down and then come back up, and it was Mario's face. So you could at least do the pull.
Yeah,
and
I
stuff,
remember doing that in the store a bunch.
I remember it must have been November, going to Toys R Us to experience what you guys experienced with the bubble system, and wouldn't you know it, the control stick didn't work. I have never felt so sad in my life of when my experience was right there on the screen and I couldn't control it. It hurt so bad.
Yeah.
But you better believe I jumped a bunch of times. I jumped a bunch of times.
Woo! Woo!
But then Christmas Day happened, and it's the happiest I've ever been in my life. I can honestly say that. It was such a beautiful thing.
See, I can't. I've been happier than that, but not about a thing. And like ever since then, I'm just like, man, things don't do it as well. And even back then, like you said, like you were mostly excited about getting the stuff, getting about the games. I did, and I would like, oh, I'm gonna spend time with my family. My cousins and I did very little but play video games together. We all crowd around 13-inch
That's still
television.
family time.
That's family time, right? And it got even better when the N64 came out. We'd play Star Fox 4-player.
Oh my God,
GoldenEye
4-player.
4-player. And so, like, you'd get that game for Christmas, and then all Christmas Day, you didn't talk to your aunts and uncles. You were all crowded around, fighting over who was going to be the next person on it.
Yeah, but I mean, then my two core memories are one-player games, and I remember the next year, maybe it was 2 years from. I think it was either 97 or 98. And we got, let's see, it was Christmas of 95. Holiday 95 is when the N64 dropped. And then I want to say it was either 96 or 98. Ocarina of Time drops.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit. When that thing dropped, I remember being so amazed that this thing existed and it was like a little more serious. I had experience with none of the Nintendo versions of Zelda, but Super Nintendo, A Link to the Past. Yeah. And I remember overcoming a fear of scary music in Link to the Past of like, I would hang out in Kakariko Village because I liked the music there.
There's that sound chip again.
And then I would leave. But this thing, when that loaded up and it had the music and the moon and and you just saw he was riding a horse.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, there's a horse. This moment changed my life as well, because I didn't know something like this was possible.
Your life changed a lot.
It did. I mean, this was it. This was 1998. Okay, so it was 3 Christmases later that this came out, 3 holidays later. So by then we had a bunch of stuff, but we didn't have a Zelda. And when this thing came out, it just was earth-shattering. And what I'll say specifically as it relates to Christmas is everyone has those Christmas memories of your parents putting you on the phone to talk to all of your family members. And like, hey, did you have a good Christmas? You're like, yeah. This time, I remember I was sitting like this, and I was like, yeah. And it was good. And I remember to the point where my parents are like, hey, that's your cousin on the phone. Say something. And I couldn't, because I was locked in this. I mean, I was stuck. And I remember specifically, I was trying to get, I started right when Christmas morning began, and they're trying to have me talk to people while I'm inside the Deku tree. You know what's in the Deku tree? Monsters.
Like, I can't save right now.
That's
literally,
right.
I've got to play it.
And like the sword, like I'm cutting grass. I'm cutting things down for the first time. I'm doing slicing motions. I'm hitting the Z trigger. These people didn't understand that on Christmas Day, all that matters is that. So I kind of look back and I'm like, well, that was a bit much. But also, again, it mattered so much to me. This was everything to me, you know? So between those 2 games, that was just earth-shattering in my head. What about you guys?
Well, I know Steve's got, you're talking about disappointment. One of my favorite Steve stories.
Well, see, this one at least ends in triumph.
Yes.
Okay, good.
It was, I guess it was like 89, probably.
Yeah, something.
That sounds about right. And so it's Christmas Eve, and my brother and my mom go out to go Christmas shopping, and my brother's like, what do you want for Christmas? And well, my mom's like, what do you want for Christmas? I'm like, Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 2. It's all I wanted.
Yeah.
They go out to Kitty City, downtown in Center City. It used to be there like 12th and Market. They come back. I'm just staring out the door, waiting for them to come back. They come back, they bring in the bags. My brother's like, sorry, they didn't have Super Mario Brothers 2. And this was at like 7 o'clock at night, like Christmas Eve. I think I went straight to bed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I cried myself to sleep that night. Stayed in bed. I was despondent. I was like, Christmas doesn't even mean anything if I don't get some Mario Brothers 2. Blah, blah, blah.
And it didn't.
I woke up the next morning begrudgingly at like 7 or 8. Normally at Christmas, I'm up at 2.
Yeah.
Trying to sneak downstairs before my mom catches me.
Of course.
And I'm just like, oh yeah, well, I don't have anything to wake up for because I just got socks and stuff. I didn't get anything for Christmas. And then I just hear like cool noises coming from downstairs. I'm like, oh, my brother's playing some game on Nintendo. Let me see what he's playing. And he's playing Super Mario Brothers 2.
Oh my God.
Because he told me that they didn't have it to pull a prank on me, as older brothers would want to do. But at the same time, like I feel like he went a bridge too far with that one, because
for sure.
I didn't eat the rest of the night. My mom's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, you didn't give me the game. And it made me seem like the most materialistic, petulant child ever, I'm sure. But I was looking forward to this so much. I saw it in Nintendo Power. I saw it in Electronic Gaming Monthly. Friends were talking about it.
I played this largely in a arcade setting in Pizza Hut. They had the Play Choice 10. They'd be like, Mario Brothers 2, you can play it before it's out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was cool when there was like experience it before it's out.
Yeah. Well, it was a good marketing tactic.
Yeah,
it helps make kids cry when they don't get it for Christmas. The bittersweet ending was that they did have Mario Brothers 2, and I got to play it eventually. Also, they had Life Force, which I think is Greatest 3.
Yeah,
I think it's Greatest 3.
Horizontally scrolling shooter.
Yeah, shoot 'em up.
Like you're flying to the side?
Yeah. And you basically end up fighting like a giant heart of like a planet-sized boss at the end.
Yeah.
And me and my brother played 2 players all the way through Life Force to the end and beat it. So it was a Konami game, so I used the Konami code. But we put in the Konami code for 30 lives and 30 continues, and we beat it with those first 30 lives. We'd have to continue. We played all the way through, beat the game. Yeah.
Did that? Okay.
Not to be confused with the 80s movie starring Patrick Stewart. Which I still haven't seen, because I'm mad that it's not a movie based on this game. But yeah, it's either Greatest 2 or 3, I forget. But yeah, you shoot waves of enemies, pick up power-ups. You eventually get options, which are little satellites that fly around your ship, and they also shoot.
And so this was actually, for the time, like being a 2-player simultaneous co-op game was like, oh, that's a new interesting thing. I can play with my brother simultaneously.
Yeah, it's something that. How's your relationship with your brother now?
It's pretty good. You know, as adults do, they tend to have their own paths in life.
Yeah.
But we always try to make sure that, we keep in touch. We try to we don't talk about video games because he's Mr. Professional Business, so he can't do video games anymore as much as he likes.
I have a feeling he and Terry would get along because you do have some similar opinions on things like the DC universe.
He's a giant DC fan in general. So he loves all the DC movies. He hates all the Marvel movies. And
I'm in between. I mean, I hate everything right now.
But the last system I know he had was a PS4 when it first came out, and he was playing, I think, Mortal Kombat 9 or 10.
Probably 10, yeah.
Whichever one would have been on PS4.
Your niece doesn't have any video game system?
No, she plays Roblox on her computer, but she doesn't have a system. She doesn't play his PS4. I don't think she wants to. She's a touchpad player. I want to get her indoctrinated into video games, but I haven't had a chance.
Yeah. With my kids, it's fun living this through them, right? Like,
yeah, it's gonna be great.
But it's also different. Like, games are different now in that they are more accessible than ever, and I mean that not only like in terms of price, they are cheaper than they used to be, but they're also easier to. You download them.
Yeah. You don't have to read a manual either to figure out how to play.
Yeah, and that was part of the fun too. Like, you got this new game, like, oh, I got Mario 2. Let me read the manual. Yeah. Oh man, and like
in the car on the way home.
Yes.
God, that's
not a thing.
Did we read manuals on Christmas Day? Probably not, because we were too excited to play it.
I did. I do both. Yeah.
Okay. You?
Yeah. I have to know how to play the game so I can enjoy it.
Now, are you reading it while your siblings are opening presents?
I might
or
wait.
Parents, because that would be a bit much.
See, we weren't allowed to. It was like, you got to wait till everyone's open.
Yeah. And when he had the one TV, so it's like I couldn't play while people were opening presents, maybe watching something on TV.
Like,
just like turn off the Christmas Day parade and put on Nintendo Super Mario Brothers. It'd be like, no.
Yeah.
Get out of here. So yeah, I would read it, waiting for my chance, biding my time to be able to play the game.
Our games were always set up in the guest room. So there was a TV in the guest room, and that's where I had to play. And that was one of those. It was the oldest TV I've ever seen. I think it was the original TV.
Was it one of those big, like, it was like a bureau cabinet type thing?
Oh, those are great.
Thing turning around, and
but it was color.
It was color.
Was it inside of another piece of furniture?
No, it was not. It was not inside like a Davenport or whatever the heck that is. But that's where gaming went. And you knew as soon as presents were done, I would be there for the next 8 hours. I'll see you for dinner. And I was a really good kid too. So like, if my parents did tell me to come down, I would have. And I did. But
you were thinking about gaming.
Oh God, I was totally just zonked out. But apparently I wasn't tormented by Sesame Street 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so like you were saying, similar. I only got games on Christmas and my birthday.
Yeah.
But it turns out that my birthday is the day before Christmas.
Oh, is it really?
So there's one time a year I'm getting games. I gotta hope, right? And so like the whole rest of the time you just get it. And one of the games my sister got, I remember, we both got a game, and she got Sesame Street 1, 2, 3 ABC. This is 1, 2, 3. It was just the counting one.
It's made by Rare. I didn't.
Yeah, made by Rare.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, this is like 2 years before Battletoads.
Wow.
But yeah, so Ernie's shapes here that we're looking at, pretty benign. You match shapes, pretty easy. But although you'll notice, like for the NES, it's really good graphics.
It is good graphics.
It looks like Ernie.
Hi, Bunny.
The colors are great. But if we go into like the Astro Grover section, if we scroll ahead to, let's see, you'll
Probably about halfway.
Yeah.
Go to about 12 minutes in. There.
Yeah. So these, oh my God, that moon. So
this joyful little guy in the top left.
That joyful little guy.
Frowned a bit.
Yeah. Well, see, so he's got that pensive look when he's seeing if you're figuring it out. But if you get it wrong, he does this head shake and it makes this sound. Do 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 do.
I think I remember that.
Do 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 do.
I think I do remember that.
Yeah, and I'm scarred from that. And I think a lot of people, because I went up looking the video over this recently, down in the comments, there's going to be people who are like, oh my God, that moon scarred me. Because he'd shake his head and the most disapproving noise I've ever heard in my life came out.
I remember that. I do remember that. You know, it was funny. There was a time where just you played anything. You know, played anything that came out.
Oh, yeah, we played this like, we were like, well, we got 2 games, so we're going to play it. I played a lot of this game.
Yeah, I mean, So this was a Christmas one.
This was a Christmas one.
And I'm sure it meant a lot to you. I don't know why. Did the Christmas games mean more to you than any that you might have picked up or any rentals?
Anything that added to the number of cartridges in the
That
house
you
was a
owned?
big deal. It was like, all right, my stack of cartridges is now like 8 high, and now I'm feeling pretty good.
But in there was like one of the shitty gold ones from that other brand that made
The
Nintendo
Tengen
games.
ones.
Tengen, yeah. Which was always pretty funny.
Like the Tengen Tetris.
Tension
I
which
mean-
was superior.
What?
It was superior. It had a 2-player mode. Then the Nintendo published one did not.
Oh,
So-
you know what I didn't think of? I guess I probably got Game Boy for Christmas. I'm sure there's a Christmas Game Boy. And we probably got 2 and a link cable.
Whoa.
Because if you had a sibling,
Guys
probably
had-
had that. But I remember
fancy.
Tetris. Was it fancy?
I mean,
to
I
have
feel
to get
what
2
was
of them.
each
Yeah, one
getting a
Christmas.
Game Boy back in the day.
Yeah, you don't have to
felt like a
share.
thing.
Yeah, but I mean, think of the parents of like, okay, you'll do this and you'll do this in the back seat, and my life's easy. But Tetris on the Game Boy, nicely done, Dylan. Definitely was a huge Christmas thing. I remember Tetris having a resurgence when I was in high school of people bringing their Game Boys in and playing Tetris with each other again, but
with the link cable.
with the link cable. But
Yeah.
this is like, you know what? Maybe it was like Pokemon was out, so people were getting Game Boys, and the Game Boys were packed in with these.
Yeah,
So
that
this,
probably went hand in hand.
probably, but God, Tetris on Christmas morning was fun because your dad played, your mom played, your aunts, your uncles played, everybody played, and it was just so much more fun. And I remember, like, you know, we lived in a neighborhood where families would see each other on Christmas. Like, we'd all walk outside and say hi, maybe go to one of the other houses for like a brunch or something, and you got to play with those kids' games too.
Yeah.
And when Tetris hit, everybody on the block had it. So you all had a Game Boy, and if I don't know why they had the forethought to get the link cable, but they did. And it just turned into like a wonderful. I wish it was a Christmas tradition. that I
Didn't
still
Tetris
kept.
or the Game Boy come with the link cable? I thought it was a pack-in.
Maybe
I
it
thought
was.
like there was a game that had a pack-in link cable.
If you got there's no game that with it was a
Okay.
pack and link cable, but if you got like the bigger set of Game Boy, I think the one with Tetris did come with a link cable.
Okay.
So
And that must have been what we got.
Yeah.
I definitely know everybody on my block that had a Game Boy also had a link cable.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, how do so many people have link cables? I
Well,
didn't have a Game
that's
Boy.
maybe
so-
that's why we were able to play it.
yeah, and so and it's
Nintendo always thinks
amazing.
ahead on those things.
Everyone played it. See, this one I remember my mom got it for Christmas. It was the only like NES game my mom ever got for Christmas.
Cool.
And it was great because it was like, oh, my mom's playing video games with us. So that's pretty cool. So a similar thing, it was like community building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christmas meant something. It was like a Christmas holiday. Nintendo slotted perfectly into the Christmas holiday. And I would say it was just a more innocent time with gaming where everything was designed around being fun and not being around like a hardcore story or something like that. Or
How much money can you milk out of the player?
yeah, or God forbid on Christmas you give someone a game that's free to play and they immediately need all the upgrades and stuff because your wallet's hurting if you're paying for that around Christmas. I mean, that's got to be tough nowadays, but it was just such joy when we were young to receive something. It meant so much to me. I'll tell you how much it meant to me. You guys know I was Nintendo only,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, one Christmas
Until
I did get a Sega Genesis.
Oh.
It was the Christmas, maybe 2 after SNES. And I am still to this day a Nintendo purist, but I had to play Sonic 2. I had to.
Did you play Sonic
2.
1?
I did at
Okay.
a friend's,
Okay.
and I had to play Sonic 2. So it was like that morning I crossed over and became a Sega guy
just
as
a bit,
well.
you dipped a toe in the Sega waters.
Dipped a toe. I went to Sonic. Now, I was never on your level with Sonic.
My level being just having played all the Genesis
No, I
ones.
thought you were like a legendary Sonic the Hedgehog player.
Oh no,
Like, and you know the physics of everything.
I mean, if you touch a controller playing a Sonic game, you know the physics of it. But no, I played 1, 2, and 4 Sonic and Knuckles a lot. I got really good at Sonic and Knuckles. It was one of my favorite games ever.
Uh-huh.
And then I played Sonic Adventure 2, and then that's about it. Like as far as like full playthroughs, because all the other 3D Sonic games suck.
I've still never played a 2D Sonic game.
What?
Yeah, so it was one of the things I
Oh
really.
my
One of the
goodness.
things I was hoping the new Sega All Superstar thing was going to help me do is get Chris to play a Sonic game because it's 4-player co-op.
Is that
But
the,
it sucks.
Nah.
what do you mean it sucks?
It got really bad reviews. Apparently, it
Is
just
this a new one?
yeah, it just came out like right before Super Mario Wonder, a week before.
Oh, it just came
Yeah,
out.
and apparently
Oh, it was the one that was supposed to bring back 2D Sonic?
Yeah.
Not the remake where like they released an upgrade to Mania where you could be Amy.
Yeah, no, it's a completely new game.
Totally new game.
It was designed around co-op. It's kind of like the Kirby Superstar.
Can I see that,
game.
Dylan?
Yeah, I think it's called Sonic,
New Sonic the Hedgehog?
Superstars.
Sonic Superstars.
You play as but it's like 4-player co-op, and they just did a bad job of making a 2D Sonic game.
No, don't tell.
Like
I'll watch that review.
Like every other one is just like it's mediocre, but for Sonic fans, it's either great or terrible.
Yeah.
In reality, it's probably a
I was
mediocre
hoping it was
game, but you don't want it
finally
to be
over.
mediocre.
We're still in this stupid Sonic cycle,
Forever.
huh?
There's no way out.
No.
Why? Well, I mean, thank God for when we grew up. Like I got to have it at its peak.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
so weird to think that we had it at its peak, but we did. And
And it never met them again. I mean,
they never got back. I mean, what happened to Sonic Team?
They either got
They
too
used
high
to be
on
a
their
Christmas
horse.
tradition.
Yeah, they either got too high on their horses, or they got lucky early,
Yeah, I guess.
or just gaming taste changed,
Mhm.
and they didn't change fast enough. Like they were always a step behind. Like Sonic Frontiers is a really good game. Supposedly got really well reviewed. It's an open world platformer.
It was weird though, right? You
Everybody
created your
expected
own
it to
character.
be really bad. No, that was Forces.
Oh,
Nobody's talked
Forces.
about Forces.
Oh, Frontier. Yeah, I know what you're
Frontier.
talking about.
Yeah, and it
It's-
was like this really good game, but it was like 5 years out of date. It missed the zeitgeist of open world games.
Yeah, because it was like okay, it was too far after Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, exactly. And so this game probably would have been really good 5 years ago before we got a bunch of good platformers, indie platformers, Sonic-alike games that have come out.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mania really was the
Mania,
thing that
yeah.
changed everything. I mean,
Mania's the only one that everyone's like, yeah, that was good.
and he wasn't involved in this. They didn't take the guy from Mania and say, "Do it again."
No, if I remember correctly, there was like a trailer that was animated by the guy that did the animations. Like, I don't know if that's the same guy. It's like Tyler or Taylor or something.
That's so very sad.
But yeah.
Man, I would love a multiplayer Sonic game, and I would love it on Christmas. So yeah, I mean, just the idea of getting a console or a game on Christmas compared to now, and I know we're adults and like just physical
Buy your
gifts
own
and things
games,
like
whatever
that
you
don't
want,
just mean as much anymore. And it's not a long period between. But you're saying even like kids don't appear to enjoy it as much as we lost our minds over it.
They're into all the other issue with my kids too is like if there's a game I really want, I get it for myself and then they can play it.
Yeah.
And they do oftentimes.
You're holding off
there's
with
not,
wonder
like,
though this
for
year.
them. Yeah, I'm holding off because I want Chris. See, I'm trying to create it. Did not get Super Mario Wonder, and I'm gonna make that a Christmas or birthday gift. Someone's gonna make that a Christmas or birthday gift out there, and that's gonna be my Christmas day.
You don't have. Oh yeah, that's right. I
So,
watched the episode.
Brand new 2D Mario on Christmas Day.
And your kids can experience it at the same time, fresh.
Right. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Trying to recreate some of it, but it's not quite the same. And for them, they get excited about. The thing is, they're not as into material stuff as I was.
Yeah.
As a guy.
I wonder
just
why
like,
that is. Why did we care? I mean, because I think the three of us, none of us would say like, oh, you know what about they have to get every new thing and they do everything. But back then it did mean everything.
I think.
Why
like
did
Chris
it
was
mean
saying,
everything?
because it was so much less accessible
Yeah.
back then, especially for us because we were children
Yeah.
without our own sources of income. But even then, you didn't know what was coming out as accurately as you do now. Now there's trailers for everything, for the product.
You never had trailers back then. And the thing is, the internet changes everything. Because the internet, they're like, oh, well, I have a computer, so I have access to infinite entertainment and pretty much anything I want to watch whenever I want. So
Yes.
who cares what I get?
Yeah, to make something stand out, you have to advertise. You have to put it in people's faces. So you're being told you want this game. It makes it less special when you get the game, as opposed to seeing the game. You feel like you discover it when you read it in Nintendo Power.
I think
And you're like, oh my God, this is a new thing I've never heard of before. It's still marketing, but it's delivered differently.
the more I think about it, I'm thinking about that more of it's the internet's accessibility to information about it.
Yeah.
As opposed to the actual thing, as opposed to like that there are millions of games out there. I think the information about the games is what it is for me because there's no mystery. When you're a kid, you're just excited to get anything.
Yeah.
Anything at all. And any game you're going to play for at least 2 solid hours. And if it's only 2, you had a good time with those 2. But if it's 10, then you're like, oh my God, this is a legendary, amazing experience, one that will never be rivaled again. But I think maybe that's why we're not as excited. It's because it was just like something is behind that wrapped package that I'm going to get to enjoy.
Yeah, there's definitely more unknown back then. And now we know too much.
I feel we do.
Well, and it's something that comes up with me in my household a lot. I know what games I want to play, and I know what games I don't want to play. So if it's a game I want to play, I get the game.
Yeah.
So like my girlfriend's like, oh, I can't get you a game because you bought it already. And it's like, yeah, because I wanted to play it. And she said, well, I want to buy you another game. I don't want any other game. The last time she brought me a game for Christmas was Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And I just played Assassin's Creed 3 to completion, and I was like, I never want to touch another open world Assassin's Creed game again. And then she got me a new one, which was critically acclaimed, and I'm like, it was never opened because I was like, I don't want to play it. But she made a good call in guessing what I wanted.
Yeah, I mean that was actually a pretty good jump.
Yeah,
it's like the next in the series, and you're just like, I'm done.
She also got me Metal Gear Solid 3.
Snake Eater.
Snake Eater, the remaster on Xbox. I never played, never unwrapped. I feel bad about it.
What we're hearing is that Steve's an ungrateful man.
Yeah, very well. It's because he's so traumatized by what his brother did to him.
Yeah, I wanted that game. I wanted the game so bad. Now I just buy them. I don't. Well, when I can't afford it, I buy it. I don't wait for it to be given to me because I might not get it.
Yeah, I mean, becoming an adult with disposable income changes everything.
Yeah, and even if you don't have disposable income,
oh yeah, you'd be like, well,
what you do is you don't eat that week.
Yeah, you can skip a couple meals.
Yeah.
That's a game.
Ramen's a good fair trade-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what are games now? I remember games were always $50. Now I think they're 60.
60 and 70 for
Nintendo
the
ones
big
are always 60. I know that, and they hold their value.
Yeah, Chris was saying he remembers Super Nintendo games being like 70 or 80 or something.
Yeah, 70, 80.
What?
Yeah. You go back and look.
$70, $80 in early 90s?
Correct.
Yeah, like for new.
Dylan, can you look up the inflation rate of... see, what is $70 in 1992 compared to today? That would be an excellent thing. Are you serious?
Yes, absolutely. Cartridges were expensive, and they got more and more expensive. In fact, a lot of N64 games were at 80. Some of them got to 90.
Like by the time I got money consistently to buy my own games, they were all 60.
Well, that's 1972.
72, oh, yeah.
Start year. Just wait, go back. There's a part that says start year. And you can just change that to 1992.
92. I am curious to see.
What?
153. So games were a bigger deal. They were more expensive.
They were.
They were harder to get, even if you had the money. It was a lot.
That's 3 GameCube games.
Yeah, now look up...
during the height of GameCube.
Look up Toys R Us video game ad 1992. Well, we'll just keep it all the same.
Toys R Us video game ad 1992.
Circular. Yeah, like...
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Right
The catalogs.
No, not a commercial. Go back. Right there. One of those images. Thank you.
$64.99.
$49.99 for Zelda.
Look, Street Fighter 2. $69.99.
Holy crap. Holy crap.
Yes, that's a couple years after Zelda came out, right? That's probably why
and
it's
a
50.
Capcom game are more than a Nintendo original.
Yeah.
That's flipped.
So, and a lot of this was based on how much memory they had to put into the cartridge to store it. So that's where things like...
Oh my God. It was $150 to play Street Fighter 2.
It was.
And then you had to buy Street Fighter 2 again and again and again.
Yeah.
4 times you had to buy Street Fighter 2, and I bet it was $69.99 every time.
Yeah, and people complain. So
That's $600.
don't get me wrong. Games are expensive, but like compared, they are cheaper than they've ever been.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at Faceball.
Yeah.
What the hell is Faceball?
You want to be the guy who spent $60 on Faceball 2000?
Get off of your Faceball and on your internet and your goggles.
Yeah. And RPGs, they would always be 69 or 79.
But you know what? Those did feel like playing 3 entire games. Because you remember JRPGs like back in SNES days? They were long.
Yeah.
Maybe they just felt long, but I think
They were
Chrono
long. They were
Trigger's
30,
long.
40 hours at least.
Chrono Trigger's very long.
Chrono Trigger's long.
And if you go through all the endings, man, that's like 100-some-hour game
Yeah.
for sure.
That's value.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. Oh, so I guess that's why. I mean, there's something to be said about less is more and absence makes the heart grow fonder. I mean, that's got to be what this is.
Yeah.
Is now we're grown men and we can go out and get these things. And it's only if we do a self-imposed prison like you're putting yourself in with Mario Wonder where we can experience that again.
which is very sad.
Kind of, and I think what's sadder is you already know if it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
You know? So I bet it's exciting for you in that, I think Mario Wonder got like a perfect 10 score or something like that. Or
He
like
got a perfect 10 from me.
perfect 10 for Steve.
Well, and here's the thing, like you weren't sure what it would be, and sometimes you gave games a shot because you got it, and you're like, well, I don't
Might
know.
as
what
well
it's-
play it.
There were reviews. There might have been some, magazines that talked about it, but they didn't review everything. And so you might get some weird game, and you'd give it a shot, and you had to give it a shot because it's all you had to play. And you're like, it's not that bad. And then you find out later, like, that's the worst game I've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
Destroyed my childhood.
Like Gyromite.
Yeah, Gyromite without Rob.
Yeah, without
particularly.
Rob, yeah.
Oh, that's
My sister was Rob.
that?
Yeah, I think there's
Steve,
another one of the
you
games.
poor man.
Yeah. So my brother traded away our Super Mario Brothers cartridge to our neighbor down the street, and then his family moved to Canada. So we stuck with Kid Icarus, which I hated.
That could be worse. That could be
It
worse.
could have been worse. And then at some point he came home with Gyromite, just the cartridge.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out it had mode A and B. I couldn't figure out how to play it. Eventually figured out the second controller would control pillars that get your progress.
Gyromite, that's just a weird experiment of a thing. However, I do highly recommend the Gyromite, I think, trilogy for Angry Video Game Nerd. Is very, very funny. Rob the Robot comes alive several times.
Robot Gyro.
Oh my.
Yeah, so this whole thing, it was designed so you had to have Rob the Robot to play, and he held a controller. But if you didn't have Rob the Robot, you had to have two people coordinating on two controllers.
Yeah, because he would raise the things up or down, right?
Yes.
And you control the little scientist, who we never saw again.
Yeah, he was not a mascot.
He should be like a trophy or something.
He's a trophy in Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I knew Rob was, but I didn't know that he was. That's interesting.
Did I guess neither of you had Rob then for? Did I give me as a Christmas
no,
present?
certainly not. I mean,
no.
I think my parents needed to understand what it was in order to buy it for me, and that was just a bridge too far.
Yeah.
And I was very young, during NES heyday.
So like, you didn't even know what that was.
What I knew was
this thing.
I loved Mario on TV, and I loved Mario the video game.
Mm-hmm.
And I had Mario 1, 2, and 3. And when Mario World came out a year later, that was incredible to me. Like, the story of getting ready for Super Mario World is incredible in that they had to hit 2 holidays back to back. Right? Am I wrong on that? I think Mario 3 and Super Mario World were 1 year apart.
I'm almost sure.
I thought there was more, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mario 3 is 93.
Dylan, what's Mario 3, time between Mario 3 and Super Mario World, please? Yeah. But anyway, that is incredible. Like, some of the things that these companies had to pull off in order to get
Now, these are all about like
what year did Mario 3 come out? It's right there. 1988.
Oh, 88.
Oh, really?
North America in 1990.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's what it is. North America.
Because I was like, wait, that seems way too
North
close.
America was 1990.
That's another thing that's different now is that there were 2 years between the Japanese and the American release. You never see that now.
Dude,
never.
Yes, because 1990 and then Mario World hit holiday 91.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, when did Mario World come out? Because at the bottom it says 1990, 1991.
Yeah, I feel it like it's
So 91 would have been here, or 92? It's programmed in 91.
1990 in Japan,
Yeah, it's in
91 in North
Japan.
America.
Yeah.
91 in North America. Okay, so it was holiday 91 and then holiday 89. Holiday 90? Hit the back button real quick.
Yeah, how did 89?
How am I
It was
this
holiday 89 to 91.
91.
Yeah.
Mario 3 come out? Go to the top.
Come out. Yeah, in North America on
1990,
February
Christmas 1990.
So they were both 1990. No, what?
No,
No, it's
1990.
91 for Super Mario World in America.
Is that what that just said?
Yeah,
It
it's
said 92 in North
oh,
America.
92. It's
Yeah.
90 in Japan, 92.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, it's in 91 North America, 92 Australia.
Hit the forward button.
It was 90.
90.
91
America,
and
91 North
91.
America,
Yeah.
92 for Australia.
Okay, so 91 and... Jeez, that's crazy. But there was like little time. And you know what? Actually, I remember it was fast because they had to change the TV series. We were watching the book of Super Mario Brothers 3, and then it turned into the Super Mario World.
Super Mario World. Yeah.
Super Mario World. It's a blast from the.
Next time we should do a video game TV show.
Why was it a
Yes.
ska
Sing.
song?
What was it?
It was
It was
a
kind of
Jamaican
like
accent. Was
a calypso
the singer?
song.
Yeah.
Mario and Luigi
Luigi.
are doing what they can.
Yoshi and the Princess are giving them a hand.
Yeah. But so it's amazing though to see this. Japan, 1990. North America,
Well, it
91.
was fast for
Europe,
us. It was a 3-year,
There's such a
2-year
long
gap in
spread.
Japan. Yeah.
It's not like there was a
2.5
ton of
year.
translation to do.
Well, they had to release that movie,
The Wizard for Mario 3.
Mario
Yeah.
3, yeah.
Yeah. Incredible. So many things are different. But I know it was also part of it's getting older.
Yeah.
And the older you get, you're like, oh, well, I got things. They're not as important. I'm not that material. But you always hear the argument as well, like, well, it's easy for a wealthy person to say that things aren't important because you have things, jerk.
Yeah. Yeah, but also I can play a game. You couldn't play a game like Super Mario Brothers 3 anywhere but the Nintendo. And now, if you want to play a game like Super Mario 3 or even a modern game, you can go on your phone and find a free version to play. I mean, having free software and freemium content did kind of change that in that there was no other place to play it. Even if you try and play it on Game Boy, it's not the same.
I mean, you can play a web-based emulator for any of these games.
True.
And just free on any device. It's illegal, but it's free and very easily accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Man. So, and I think this is why, to me, when we're talking about holidays,
Sure.
Thanksgiving is now my favorite. It has usurped
Why?
Christmas. I was always a big Christmas because Thanksgiving now is about getting together with family and friends
Yeah.
and eating.
Uh-huh.
And you don't got to worry about getting no one a gift. You don't got to worry about like all this crazy decorating.
Yeah.
You just got to bring a dish. Everyone brings their dish. So
Eat.
good.
So you're saying eating's the least materialistic of the things you do for a holiday because you only own it for about 16 to 24 hours?
It's a consumable. Yes.
Yeah, but you could have a lot of fun with that. And at the bottom of the mashed potatoes is Steve's long-lost Super Mario 2 cartridge. Oh my God, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
Please don't put a cartridge in mashed potatoes.
And now I have to. I want to
ruins
use it
the
as like a chip
context.
dip.
Also, I
Yeah.
did have it. I just was told I didn't have it.
Tubby Robot guys,
Hmm?
is there any reason you can't make a ice cream cone like thing shaped like a Nintendo cartridge?
Copyright infringement.
Well, it wouldn't work super well. Like you mean
You wouldn't
like,
hold a cone.
like
hold
a
ice cream.
hollowed cartridge.
Yeah, filled with ice cream that you have to blow in.
So a ice cream sandwich.
It would be hard. Geometric, like
I mean,
rectangular prisms are very
if you're
difficult
going to make
do.
ice cream sandwiches, you could make the cookies
Yes.
in the shape of the front
Or
back of
like
the cartridge.
a cookie
An
tray.
ice cream dipping thing that you can eat, like a graham cracker style Nintendo cartridge looking thing that you eat.
If you're baking the cookie, yeah, you can. You get.
How are we not doing that?
We could do this.
Could we do this?
Yeah, we could do this.
I would love to see this. That would be amazing.
You know what we could do even easier is
For Christmas.
we make we bake a cookie sheet, do that, but make ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah.
So top and bottom and the inside, and that's a cartridge that you bite.
Yeah, that's what's this.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that is what he said.
I stole your idea and claimed it as my own. Yes, no, that's a great idea.
Oh my God.
You
Folks,
make it
we gotta
mint
have
and
this
green,
happen.
so it's like a microchip on the inside.
Honestly, comment. Would you like to see Tubby Robot Ice Cream Factory come up with cartridge-based cookie sandwiches?
We could make the top and bottom half Nintendo cartridges and put ice cream in the middle.
That's right. Or Sega. Or anything. Don't do a CD-ROM. It won't work.
Nah.
Will it work?
I
Won't
mean,
work,
and
but you
shit,
can make it look like a
it'd be
PlayStation.
a very thick CD-ROM. Yeah.
It'd be very inedible too. The layer of aluminum in there.
It'd be easy to make.
Not an actual, yeah. Well, I mean, God, yeah. So Christmas has been usurped for me, for you.
Yes.
For me, all holidays just don't have their luster.
Do you remember
Anymore.
Feelings?
Yeah, I mean, so feelings. You know what? Feelings go with days of rest, and I haven't had many true days of rest where I'm not thinking about what I have to do after the break.
Yeah.
I think this Thanksgiving I might finally be able to take, well, I mean, here's the bottom line. I could take one of the 4 days and like clear my mind. And during that one day, I will just play video games. and it'll remind me of that day where I was gifted Sega, Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube.
The memories will come flooding back, and you'll be living them, and it'll be a happy, warm, fuzzy time.
And it
Did
will.
you not get a PlayStation for Christmas then?
Oh, never. I will never get a Sony. We are flirting with getting a Sony here in the studio so that we can do some Let's Plays.
How did you play Final Fantasy VII?
Sleepovers.
Oh, okay.
Sleepovers. Same way I did Kingdom Hearts. I mean, the girls who lived downstairs from me in college had a PlayStation 2, and I just bought Kingdom Hearts 2 and borrowed the PlayStation because I wasn't buying one of those things. I played it. It was wonderful. I still remember sitting at that table. I think Mario Galaxy came out, and going through that was just so enjoyable. But purchasing Mario Galaxy couldn't hold a candle to getting gifted Super Mario World.
Yes.
And maybe it's the gift of giving that is also part of it too. Like,
Well, that'd be the gifts of receiving.
well, yes. But my parents had to feel good because they knocked it out of the park every
Yeah, when you talk excited
Christmas
you
and
were
every
about
birthday.
every console.
Meanwhile, my sister wasn't into video games, so it probably wasn't the same. It was probably like, oh man, we can't get this kid anything. And it's like, here you go, joy for 4 months, and then joy for 8 months. They nailed it. I'm so yeah. My Christmases as a child were awesome, and they were awesome because I got awesome gifts, and that's terrible to say, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
It's the opposite of the meaning of Christmas. I love Charlie Brown would be crying.
I can't wait. Okay, fine. I'll clean it up. I can't wait to give a young person their Mario World,
There you go.
which doesn't exist anymore because you've already got it anyway on your phone and you're playing whatever game you want 3 months before the holidays, and you don't care, and you're mean, and the monitor you have isn't good enough anyway, and nothing works, and I hate Christmas.
I mean, to be fair, Nintendo won't make another 2D Mario at this rate for another 6-7 years if the pattern holds. You got
So you're
that
saying
long
I
to
gotta
give
get
a kid
Mario Wonder.
Yeah.
I gotta get a bunch of physical cartridges of Mario Wonder and just give them out.
Sounds good.
I envy you. I think that'll be a wonderful experience to share with your children.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Yeah.
Anything else on Christmas, boys?
I think that's it.
No, I think y'all have a merry one if you're celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ain't, eat some leftover turkey.
Yeah, from our family to yours, happy holidays. And we'll see a bunch more in December, but I'm just saying, you're getting this right after Thanksgiving. It's the holiday season. Wahoo!
Wahoo. See you guys.
Luigi!
YUNKJunk!